Near the city of Mongyong in central South Korea, there are numerous mountains. Within these mountains, there are many abandoned quarries. On May 1st, 2011, 3 men went into one of these old abandoned quarries. They were looking for a place to put their beehives. As they went deeper into the overgrown hollow, they found something that would be burned into their memories forever. They found 3 wooden crosses standing in a row, 2 smaller ones flanking a larger one in the middle. And on that middle cross was what at first appeared to be a mannequin hanging from it. But as they walked closer towards it, they started to hear a swarm of flies buzzing. They also noticed that there was blood dripping from the figure on the cross. It was then the 3 men realized that this was no mannequin. They were looking at an actual corpse of a man. The body was crucified onto the middle cross with horrifying precision. Nails through his hands and feet, and a crown of thorns on his head, and a wound on the right side of his torso. The men immediately called the police. It only took a little while for the police to arrive, and after answering a few brief questions, 2 of the 3 men fled the scene in terror. But the 3rd man, a 53-year-old Jun-Bong, stayed behind and appeared to be strangely fascinated with the scene. The police were able to find out that the dead man was Jun-Bong, a taxi driver found 200 kilometers from home. In his final month, he quit his job and bought a new SUV. He also withdrew all savings and purchased lumber for crosses. As investigators dug deeper into his final days, though, they uncovered something that made them question everything about this case. They suspected that something just wasn't right about that 3rd man, Jun-Bong. While the 2 other men ran from the horror, he stayed and photographed everything. Was his interest just curiosity, or was it entirely something else? Investigators started digging, not just into the crime scene, but into Ju's background. This is when they found a blog post by Ju, posted shortly after the news went public. It contained uncensored photos of the crucified body he'd taken on that day. And beneath them, a message that sent chills down everyone's spines. Did you choose to bear the sins of this world, or did you want to relive Christ's ultimate suffering? This was a strange finding, but not near enough to tie him to the death. But that changed when the police discovered a disturbing connection. Jun-Bong was about to become a lot more than just a witness. When investigators were digging into Kim's background, they found something interesting in an online forum. Ju wasn't just some random guy who found a body. He was the leader of a small religious group, the kind of community that exists in the shadows of the internet, a place where lost people look for meaning. And Kim was a follower of Ju's group. But just as investigators began piecing together this connection, the autopsy results arrived, and they revealed something nobody expected, a verdict that would turn this entire investigation on its head. The coroner's report explained that the death was caused by self-crucifixion. At first, the words didn't even make sense together. How could someone crucify themselves? The police report, however, claimed it was possible. In fact, they had recreated the scene twice, both times showing that it was by all practical means entirely possible. But possible and probable were 2 very different things. Picture this. You're alone in a remote quarry, wearing nothing but white underwear. Somehow, you need to nail yourself to a cross, not with an electric drill, but with a manual corkscrew drill and a hammer. The first nail goes through your foot. Imagine the pain of a massive nail driven through flesh and bone. Most people would pass out and most people would stop. But Kim kept going. The second foot is where physics becomes impossible. You're already bleeding and one hand is injured. To nail your second foot, you'd need to balance your entire body weight on a single nail. Maintain enough stability to hammer yet another nail through your own foot. Then comes the most unbelievable part, the corkscrew drill, a manual tool that requires tremendous force. Somehow, Kim drilled holes through both hands. After the first hand was already mutilated, how do you grip a drill with a hand that's just been punctured? And then there's the bandages. The bandages were wrapped with surgical precision around his torso, neck, and wrists, and finally a wound in his side, mimicking the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Investigators found detailed instructions of how to crucify oneself in Kim's notes. In it, they found schematics and diagrams of how to do it, but instructions are one thing, physically executing them, near impossible. If you think Kim Jun-Bong's story is disturbing, this next incident will make you question everything you believe about truth and reality. Because sometimes, the darkest stories don't unfold in remote forests. They happen right in front of us, documented in real time, while no one does anything to stop them. In January 2016, a man was found dead in his burning home in Fresno, California. Multiple stab wounds marked his body. But what makes this case truly chilling isn't just how he died, which could easily just be a house fire. It's what he posted online just days before his death. "If I turn up missing or dead tomorrow, remember this van." This is the story of John Lang, and it's either a haunting tale of conspiracy and corruption or a man's slow descent into paranoid delusion. It started on March 20th, 2015, with a simple YouTube video. A Ford truck passing by a house. Once, twice, 3 times. Nothing particularly suspicious to most viewers. But to John Lang, a 51-year-old former Marine, this was evidence of something sinister. You see, Lang had been vocal online, criticizing the corrupt ways of how the Fresno Police Department handled their budget. And according to him, they weren't happy about it. And that truck captured in the video, he claimed it belonged to either the Fresno PD or the sheriff's office. This was just the beginning of what would become an increasingly disturbing series of events. What Lang captured over the next few months on his security cameras would make that truck look like child's play, and it would set in motion a chain of events that would lead to his final, chilling prediction. Over the next 10 months, Lang's YouTube channel became a digital diary of paranoia, or perhaps evidence of systematic harassment. He posted video after video. First, a man walking his dog, stopping briefly outside his house. According to Lang, this wasn't just any dog walker, it was a plain-clothed officer, conditioning Lang's dog not to react when they would eventually break in. There was also this incident where multiple police trucks would routinely stop in front of his house, just long enough to make their presence known. However, it was this black van that truly crossed the line. The security footage shows it parking outside Lang's home, and someone pointing what appears to be a large camera at his house for 30 seconds before speeding away. Lang was convinced it was a thermal imaging device used to track his movements inside his own home. All seems very strange, but what happened next would make even the most hardened skeptic question everything they thought they knew about this case. It's January 16th, 2016. Lang posts his final video, a cleaning company van parked outside his home. Lang's description of this event reads like a man who knows his fate. "If I turn up missing or dead tomorrow, remember this van. I've been causing the city of Fresno a lot of problems recently, which I now regret." Days later, firefighters responded to a house fire. Inside, they found John Lang's body. And here's where this story takes an even darker turn. Initial reports stated Lang had multiple stab wounds on his upper back and chest. But when the coroner's report was released, it only mentioned 3 wounds to the chest that were self-inflicted. And the back wounds were completely absent from the official record. What investigators found inside his home would raise even more questions about what really happened to John Lang. Every entrance was barricaded, from the inside. His security cameras, which had been his constant companions during his months of alleged harassment, had been turned off just the day before. The last recorded footage was Lang sitting alone, holding a kitchen knife. So what really happened to John Lang? Was he a man driven to paranoid delusion, documenting imagined threats until they consumed him? Or did he uncover something so damaging that it cost him his life? The official investigation is closed, but the questions remain. John Lang's story is a chilling glimpse into a world of corruption and paranoia, leaving us with more questions than answers. But if you think that's as strange as it gets, think again, because this next story takes us down a rabbit hole so bizarre, it blurs the lines between reality and the paranormal. In November 2020, a Twitter user by the name of Akihiro stumbled upon something truly disturbing while browsing a website that hosted live camera feeds from scenic spots all across Japan. In Akihiro's own words, "In this live camera of Izu skyline on November 1st, 2020 at 6 a.m., even though it's so bright, there's something pitch black and disturbing. I feel like the size is also bigger than the average person. Anyone know more?" The link led to a live cam website that hosts scenic views from places all across Japan. It's hosted by the Shoka Prefecture Road Corporation, and more specifically, this live cam captures a remote road going up north towards Mount Fuji. The website works on an hourly schedule. Every hour on the dot, cameras like this, set up all across Japan, take a picture. Akihiro wants us to see the picture that was taken on November 1st, 2020. Let's examine the photos from that day, shall we? We'll go in reverse order, from the dead of night to the break of dawn. There. Did you catch it? Let's zoom in on that 6 a.m. image. Despite the morning light illuminating the scene, the figure seems to be completely, unnaturally black. Even more unsettling, it casts no shadow on the sunlit road. No shadows, no reflections, no depth. Just a two-dimensional void in the shape of a person, facing the camera head-on with an eerie stillness. But a shadowless figure in the middle of nowhere is just the beginning. The remote location of this sighting only deepens the mystery. This winding road is located just south of Mount Fuji, right next to the Izu Skyline observation deck. Apart from a smattering of small towns in the area, this spot is deep in the wilderness. So what is this mysterious figure doing out here, all alone, at the crack of dawn? Strangely, there's no vehicle in sight, suggesting the figure would have had to hike to this remote location. But then why would they just stand there, in the middle of the road, staring directly into the camera? The figure's behavior is baffling enough, but when you see what online sleuths discovered about its physical dimensions, you'll be even more intrigued. As if the situation wasn't eerie enough, the original tweet also noted that the figure seemed unusually large. This observation sparked a flurry of amateurs investigating in the replies. By using Google Maps to measure the width of the road and comparing it to the height of the figure, online detectives arrived at a shocking conclusion. The shadow person appeared to be around 2.2 meters tall. That's about 7 foot 2 inches. An extraordinary height, especially in Japan, where the average adult man stands at 1.7 meters or 5 foot 7 inches. So now we have a giant, pitch-black humanoid figure standing without casting a shadow and unnervingly facing the camera in the middle of nowhere, with no clear explanation for how or why they're there. But here's where the plot thickens. Remember those time-stamped comparison photos I showed you earlier? Well, I have a confession to make. Those images weren't actually from November 1st, the day of the sighting. You see, the live camera website only keeps an archive of the past 7 days. Anything older than that is wiped unless it was saved by a third party. Using the Wayback Machine, an internet archive tool, I was able to dig up some snapshots of the site from November 2020, but none from the first, the crucial date of the Shadow Man's appearance. This means we can't be 100% certain that the 6 a.m. photo of the figure is authentic, since it would have vanished from the live cam site a week later. Akihiro seems to be the only person who captured it, tweeting what he found 5 days after the alleged event, and by then, the image would still have been visible on the site for others to verify. Interestingly, none of the replies to Akihiro's viral tweet questioned the authenticity of the image itself. They only express shock and fascination at the uncanny scene, which implies that this image was in fact real. Are we looking at something beyond rational explanation? An apparition, a specter, a tear in the fabric of reality itself? We may never know the truth behind the Izu Skyline Shadow Man or the death of John Lang. But one thing is certain. They are mysteries that will continue to haunt us, a bone-chilling reminder that the world still holds secrets we can't fully comprehend.